You are listening to the Total Geek podcast. My name is Sean Bartley, and I'm joined by my friends.
Leo.
Harris.
This is actually round two for us. Yesterday,
Ducks.
we recorded, and there was a technical technical snafu on the count of our good friend Leo over here.
Stupid brains.
Yeah, you were distracted by Ben Affleck again. We understand.
Yeah, and Matt Damon.
Affleck.
So here we are once again, trying to put this thing together before the weekend for you guys. And I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm just going to get into it. Comic-Con was last week, and we all attended for, different amounts of time. I was there Thursday and Friday.
I was there Thursday. I was invited by Carmine Comics. Shameless plug, which I should have done in the first place. And you were there,
I
Harris?
was there both Friday and Saturday.
Cool. Leo, we were supposed to have the booth together. We were supposed to kind of take it over.
Yeah, kind of like run into each other, but there was very bad reception there.
Yeah.
A lot of the phone calls. I actually got there early and got into the booth late because I couldn't get in contact with the person that was in charge of the booth. Half an hour later, that was so. But overall, very good experience for me. I was there as a exhibitor, which is something I never done before. Mm-hmm. And it was my first time in Comic-Con after something I didn't mention before, after 15 years of not attending Comic-Con. I think. Since they took it, originally it was in the Jacob Javits Center, then they took it away, and now they brought it back, and then it's been like, how many years you guys been attending to Comic-Con now?
Oh boy, I want to
4 or 5?
Yeah, 5.
I've been on and off the past 5 years.
Yeah, so maybe 15 years is the last Comic-Con that I attended.
Wow.
So it's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
For me.
What was your Comic-Con experience, Harris?
Oh, I was haunting Artist Alley the entire time.
Stalker.
Yes, I was. I was spending the entire time talking to people that I've known for a long time. They've known me for a really long time. Some of them for the very first time. And it was great because I got to meet Adam Hughes. I talked to Chris Bautista, Brian Brusolato. I talked to Frank Cho. Talked to my good friend Wilson Ramos Jr., who started up his own independent comic book company. It was a great time.
What's it called?
Section 8.
Okay.
Section 8 Comics.
Cool.
And they're based in New York City?
Yeah, based in the Bronx.
Oh, go to the Bronx.
Very cool.
And sometimes they're at Bronx Heroes Convention, which is held in the public library in the Bronx. I'm not sure which one. I'll leave a link or something about it.
There we go.
You. I actually attended 2 panels on Friday. Not a super productive Comic-Con for me, but I got to see the Avengers panel and the Batman panel over at DC, and I actually enjoyed myself at both. The Avengers panel, they actually revealed a lot of what was going on with those very, very, very sort of abstract teasers that Marvel's been putting out. Yeah, very vague. The ones with the one word and then the creative team. So now we know basically, I think, what all of those are at this point. And I just pulled out some of the ones that were interesting to me that I got, from Comic-Con. Avengers World is one of the titles by Jonathan Hickman, Nick Spencer. They're co-writing it. And Stefano Caselli, I believe his name is. And so that's going to be interesting.
Avengers World,
yeah.
What does that enclose? Did they give you any idea what?
So, Avengers World has kind of been the theme of this run of Avengers by Jonathan Hickman. They've been saying how the world, the planet of Earth, is in danger from all these intergalactic threats, and in order to protect it, it needs to be an Avengers world. And so, I guess they're kind of furthering that idea with all new.
So some kind of foreshadowing from Infinity, the ending on
Probably.
Infinity, going
I
into
think
that.
they're probably going to expand on their team. Like, we already seen a B team, but they haven't fully explored who they are and made us more interested. Other than they're really powerful, maybe you'll be explained there in Avengers World. So I'll look forward to that.
So what else?
And this is like season 2 of Marvel now. This is all new Marvel now. That's the moniker they're going with. So we got Avengers World, which is an interesting title. We also got a Black Widow title, a solo title by Nathan Edmondson and Phil Noto, which is kind of interesting. I don't think she's had a solo title if ever. It's been a
No.
really long time.
Maybe
think-
limited series, but
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she's had one shots and little special things, but her own personal book, no, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah, so that's really cool that they're doing that.
that's a cool character.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's good to see her go into prominence and maybe
for sure.
especially after the Avengers and all the spotlight that she had. in
Yeah,
the
her
movie.
popularity has really
Yeah,
risen.
yeah.
Her stock is up, and I'm a big proponent of more female-driven comic books.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that she's getting her own title. Another character getting their own title is Silver Surfer, by Dan Slott.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Mike Allred.
Silver Surfer.
That's a character who's had some really good miniseries over the past couple years.
Oh yeah, Requiem.
Yeah, and so now he's getting his own solo
And he
venture.
had titles before that
Sure.
probably had
Yeah.
canceled.
Yeah.
What is this, Volume 5 now?
I-
Fifth
Yeah,
version?
yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
He was a very prominent character
Yeah.
on Marvel for a long, long time. He is actually. Shouldn't say he was.
Yeah, well,
He
I mean,
is.
he's kind of been absent from the wider Marvel goings on.
Remember Fantastic Four too? I think was like
With the
all
rise of
about
the Silver
him.
Surfer,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I think at times he
terrible
has to
movie.
go away and then come back.
yeah.
Depending
Terrible
on
movie,
storyline.
but it shows you how prominent the character was that he was included with a Fantastic
Sure,
Four.
sure,
As
yeah.
a-
And he was
as-
big in their world.
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
With Galactus.
Back then, when
Yeah.
when that movie came out,
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not speak of it again.
Yeah.
none at all.
So that's interesting. I'm not sure about the writing of Dan Slott on that title, but he's been doing good work, I suppose, on Spider-Man. I'm not a huge fan of the Superior Spider-Man thing, but prior to that, I did enjoy it. So hopefully his style of writing fits this title.
Yeah, which is the more cosmic, probably more epic kind of thing.
Yeah.
Title
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah. Avengers Undercover is another title that's coming out, and the creative team there is Dennis Hopeless and Kev Walker. It's actually kind of an interesting premise.
Don't laugh, Harris.
I'm not gonna laugh.
Why would you laugh?
Undercover. Okay, go.
Oh,
No, the one thing that rings to me.
I gotta
is
kind of repeat the jokes now. 'Cause
Kev
I'm all out of new material.
Kev Walker is the artist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with his work. Believe it or not, on another type of thing, he used to. I think he still does artwork for Magic the Gathering on the cards.
Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
Cool.
So that's how I know him.
Cool. The premise is interesting. This is, I believe, it's the same creative team as Avengers Arena, but it certainly follows them. If anybody's been reading that, it's Arcade, the villain, very very C-list villain from the X-Men.
Let's play a game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
He
Hunger
could be
Games
really
kind of
good
thing.
though.
Yeah,
Could
so basically, this takes place after that, and it's those teenagers, those Avengers teenagers, infiltrating the Masters of Evil and sort of portraying them in order to take down, underground
Avengers
Are
is
they-
actually a take on Battle Royale, the movie, right?
Hunger Games, you mean?
No, Battle Royale, the Japanese.
Yes,
where-
Hunger Games is
It's kind of like in that.
yeah,
vein.
yeah, it's in that.
Yeah,
vein.
but Battle Avenger. What's the title of the
Avengers Arena.
Avengers Arena. Yeah,
it
it's kind of
plays
like
off
taking-
both of those.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
are they going to be imitating the old Masters of Evil or a new version of Masters of Evil?
Well, Baron Zemo's on the cover. Somebody's portraying him. I didn't get too great a look
Oh,
at
so
the
it's
other.
like
It's Captain America villain from.
it's like
back
before he turned his group into the Thunderbolts.
Well, it's Masters of Evil,
Yeah.
so yeah, I
Yeah.
would imagine.
That lineup.
Yeah. Loki, Agent of Asgard. That's another title, so it's kind of cool.
then. Agent of Asgard.
Yeah. Al Ewing and Lee Garbett. That's the creative team there. And that the writer there during the panel, he said, the first page, first panel, Thor's dead. Loki killed him. And then he goes, but every page we promise to lie to you.
It's a deception.
Yeah. Yeah. So of course, in the vein of Loki,
I really want to read that.
trickster god. Yeah.
I like the hook. I like the first page kind
Sure.
of thing. It's kind of like it's a gimmick. Let's see how long it lasts. But
Right.
Yeah.
I think it'll last long. Like Loki is a really interesting and complex character.
Yeah, but you kind of like throw yourself in a corner. Like every page, you gotta find a new way of killing Thor.
Yeah.
Or of lying to the.
No, it's just
The
they probably
premise
just
of
killed
it.
Thor first just to get it out of the way, and then he has other stuff to do.
Hopefully.
Well,
will.
Thor's certainly not dead.
Yeah.
It's. I guess it's sort of playing with our perception.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the trickster god. He's going to lie to
Yeah.
us.
Maybe if he
Fool
kills
us.
another character other than Thor, maybe.
Now, is it a fantasy or is it?
I
Pearl.
guess we'll have to wait until that one hits the shelves. That's kind of it for the books that interested me. There were tons and tons of announcements about books.
In the
So
panel,
if you
okay.
want the full details, I'm sure you can find them online. But yeah,
Probably on Marvel.com.
yeah. So
There you go.
not too much else coming out of Comic-Con.
What about the DC panel, the Batman and Superman panel?
Yeah, at the Batman panel, we got some really good news for fans of Stephanie Brown. We got the announcement that she will be returning.
Spoilers.
Spoiler is returning in a book called, I believe it's Batman Eternal.
Eternal,
or
yeah.
Eternity, something of that nature.
Oh, Eternal.
It's Eternal.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Which is kind of a mini arc, either mini arcs or one shots with a rotating cast of writer and artist.
Correct.
Dealing with different stories in the Batman
I'm just
universe.
really curious on how she's going to be introduced in the other Bat books, and how much they're going to change her origin plus what her character is.
Yeah. Well, I think she's going to be introduced in the book. Obviously, you're going to have some sort of origin for her, and then they're going to just incorporate her slowly into the other Batman books.
Because so far,
Yeah,
no mention of her.
the Batman books are kind of like some sort of no man's land in DC. Right now, we have the Batman Year Zero or
0 year. Yes.
0 year going on,
Which
Awesome book.
has been
which it's awesome.
issue 24 is just
Yeah.
off
Yes,
the charts.
came out last week.
Yeah.
Let us not speak of it again, unless you want to. But yeah, they're kind of like in a no man's land when it comes to the Batman books, because it's not the Batman from the GLA,
Right.
and it's a younger Batman, but it's not old. And there was a time there where it was kind of like the Batman that just continue after 52, but now it isn't. So
Flashpoint retcon goodiness.
yes, but it's been a very good book.
Yeah.
Before, pre, and after 52. So
Yeah. They kind of had to do a lot of shuffling and juggling
Yeah.
to fit continuity into the sort of crammed space of the New 52.
And this is a big announcement because a lot of fans have been
clamoring. For
they've
that
been
character.
clamoring and asking for this character.
Yeah.
That why was it taken away from them after
Yeah.
being introduced in the old DC?
Sure.
Yeah.
Huge announcement there. And Scott Snyder said that they have interesting and cool plans for her. So that leads me to believe that she's not just going to fall to the wayside. They're going to do cool stuff
Yeah,
with her.
and she's in good hands. If Scott Snyder is the guy that's
Right.
going to bring her to the New 52, then she's in
True.
very good hands as,
Yeah.
as a character and as somebody to look forward in the new DC going forward.
Yeah, and he
Forward.
said that she was going to be introduced, I believe it was in issue 3 of this book, so not a long time to wait at all for this character to return. And it's always good to listen to Scott Snyder speak. He's just so humble and so excited about his work, and you have to appreciate that as a fan. And he and Greg Capullo were talking about the process of putting together the Batman title in 0 year. And Snyder spoiled a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he was talking about
And
future issues
and Greg Capullo's been putting an amazing,
Yeah.
amazing work. Probably his best work
the best work of his career.
ever.
Yeah.
Nobody that's seen him when he was doing X-Force when I was much younger. That he was the main, and he was one of those artists. The new wave of
wave,
artists
yeah.
that was taking over the Marvel
Right.
when he did Spawn, which I think he actually took steps back, and now he came back with his Batman, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Where was this guy before?
Yeah, just two passionate people. Couldn't have a better creative team on that book, in my
Yeah.
opinion, right now.
Yeah, and it fits.
Yeah,
It fits the character very, very well.
absolutely.
Comparing the Scott Snyder been doing a lot of horror,
Yeah.
like
American Vampire,
American
The Wake,
Vampire,
stuff like
and The
that.
Wake,
Yeah.
which is vampires in a pool.
Yeah. And Batman actually had some horror aspects to it as well, with the Court of Owls and that specific issue where he's
more
sort of-
dread, not so much.
well, there was the issue where he was in the maze and it
Yeah,
was
that
always
that was
his
awesome.
senses.
Yeah, that was an
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's done a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
great, just a great book.
Yeah.
Just a great book.
Overall,
But other than that, not a lot of stuff coming out of Comic-Con that I can think of.
was there any other panel that you were looking forward to see? Since you only were
Well,
there 2 days, was something you say, "Well, I'm not going to go for that," but you wanted to go to see?
No, not panel-wise. I did get to meet Claudio Sanchez again, like my 4th time at this point. Yeah, Coheed Cambria, the lead singer, love the band. And, kind of hang out with him for a few minutes. That was it. That was my Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yeah. Walking Dead made its return on Comic-Con weekend, Sunday night. And did you guys get to check it out?
No, I did not
Unfortunately, I did not. The after party, which was supposed to host it, at last minute said, "Oh, we can't host it," so I missed it altogether.
Yeah, I have kind of like a love and hate relationship with The Walking Dead. I stopped, like we said before, I stopped reading the comic books.
Agreed.
I don't know. There are certain things that I like about the TV show, but maybe because I invested so much on the comic books before, I have kind of like I said, like this kind of like uncomfortable feeling watching it because it's not what I read.
Right.
But now I guess I kind of like got to accept that this is a TV show. That has nothing to do with a comic book. But it took me like a long while to get over that hump and take it as it is as a TV show. Being said that, yes, I am looking forward to watching the new season whenever it came out. But
when you
to
get
go
around
back,
to it.
when I go around to it, which probably is going to be this week. I'm already catching up to the Avengers, Arrow, which I've just started watching again. Not again, but watching the first season from last year. So hopefully in a couple of days or in the next podcast or the next podcast after that, we'll be very well informed to actually give a very good opinion about these shows.
Yeah. Walking Dead, the season premiere was excellent. They've started this community, right? They invited all the people over from where the governor had
Woodbury into the prison.
The survivors of Woodbury, that is. And it's become much more of a community. These are people that aren't trying to leave. They're sort of settled in, and this is their life. And seeing where these characters are now and how they've grown and changed and evolved has been really good. And the character arcs this year are very intriguing from the get-go.
Was there one character a new character they showed that really stuck up into your mind? Like
who stood out for you?
Yeah.
As far as new characters, nobody specifically stood out to the degree to where I'm curious about where their story's going to go. For me, it was more about the development of the characters that we've been seeing. Rick kind of went down familiar territory, but interesting nonetheless. One character who's
still receiving phone calls?
No, that's done. One character who did have an interesting arc is Daryl. Daryl's now sort of the de facto cool guy of the group.
He's the badass. That's why most people watch
I think he's been like that since like season 2. Though.
Yeah.
Well, no, but he was like that for fans of the show. Now he's like that for the people who actually live there. Okay. So these people are meeting him. And,
you mean within the show?
Yeah, within the show. They look up to him, and he's like a rock star. So I really am interested to see where that's going to go.
The developing the character.
Yeah.
He got a big head, and he thinks that.
Well, I don't see that. I see him being uncomfortable with it, actually, akin to like a Wolverine kind of thing. Okay. Yeah.
Not used to all that attention.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely enjoyed it and excited to see what's going on.
Now I really want to watch it.
Yeah, you should check it out. So on to the news that came out over the past 2 weeks. We have
Ben Affleck news. No. Okay.
No.
Carry on, child.
Not Matt Damon either. So
no.
Keep yourself dry.
Right. Affleck. Actually, we got the some casting rumors about Ant-Man. Paul Rudd and Joseph Gordon-Levitt are actually rumored to be the two front runner actors for the role. And I'm very intrigued by this, although not necessarily excited about these two choices.
Me neither.
I don't know what direction they're going to go with, but I can't see... It's hard to see them mostly as... I could see Rudd as Hank Pym to a certain degree, but I hope they go with Eric O'Grady type of Ant-Man.
Well, no, they're definitely going with Eric O'Grady.
Okay.
All of the pieces are in place for this to be an Eric O'Grady Ant-Man. You've got Edgar Wright directing. You've got Paul Rudd or Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Younger guy. Well, Paul Rudd not so much the younger guy, but definitely known for his comedy. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt has comedic chops, and he can play that. So certainly Eric O'Grady, which upsets me as a huge Hank Pym fan, and I do hope he gets some sort of a screen time in the film or maybe
a mention or something. He's kind of
getting erased from mentioned.
Timeline of. Well, he could have created the Ant-Man,
Well, now he's not in the Ultron thing.
Right, he's out of that.
So he's kind of like being, which is really a shame because he's a very interesting character that Marvel has.
Yeah.
Hank Pym.
Well, he could be one of those scientists, and then he steals the Avenger from.
Yeah.
Then it sets up for other things. What if Hank Pym goes after Eric O'Grady and wants to get his stuff back?
Yeah.
Interesting conflict right there.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. But yeah, that's an interesting character that I think we're all fans of Hank Pym because he's a broken character,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
So okay. Joseph Gordon-Levitt came out and said he is not playing Ant-Man. That that's just a rumor, and that his fans know that any role he's going to take on, they would hear it from him first. So that doesn't mean too much to me because we know that actors tend to lie. And
But does he have a track record of saying stuff like this?
not
before?
to my knowledge.
So
I know, no. But
then,
then again, he could be like 5 minutes later, I was lying. That's what you call acting.
wow, I would not give him an Oscar for that. I would beat him with the Oscar. For that.
Well, it's his prerogative to tell us the truth about the role or not, but
yeah.
at the same time, if we're going to take it with a grain of salt, that's fine. But discussing the possibility of it,
Yeah.
do you guys feel that either Joseph Gordon-Levitt or Paul Rudd are
So
the
what
guys
has
that you
Paul
would
Rudd
wanna
said
see?
about this?
He hasn't commented.
So that's probably more likely that he's more involved with it than.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't think that that's an indicator.
I just really can't see Paul Rudd. Sorry.
Me neither. Me neither.
Well, it depends. Like you said, I'm not too familiar with the other Ant-Man, the second
Eric
Ant-Man
O'Grady.
that you guys are familiar with, and just to listen to you guys talk, it seems like he's a very comedic,
Yeah.
He's
very jokey,
Yeah, but he's
younger,
jokey or not, he's a very
kind of like a
straight man.
Spider-Man, kind of like a.
Eric O'Grady's not a straight man.
No, I mean Rudd. He's he's a very straight guy. So his humor is very dry. He doesn't really show all that emotion when he delivers jokes.
Okay.
That's why I don't see him as Eric O'Grady. Maybe he'll be dramatic and try to play Hank Pym and be serious. Comedic actors can play dramatic roles well.
Yeah, we got Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Number 23. Remember it.
No, actually, the other great movie that he did where he's stuck in a dome.
Yes. Oh gosh, I'm
God.
drawing blanks here.
Truman
All right.
Show.
Thank you.
The Truman Show.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Staying in the realm of Marvel, they are actually putting together a package. This is a huge piece of news. They're putting together a package of 4 shows and a miniseries, totaling 60 hours worth of television.
Oof, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And they're pitching it to Amazon and Netflix and WGN and a few other stations and production groups. But the aspect of Netflix hosting it specifically is very intriguing to me.
And not only that, but they're selling it as a block.
They're selling it as a block.
Complete.
So any group that would take this on is going to have to take on, as far as we know right now, the entirety, all 60 hours. So who can really commit to that, right?
I think Netflix can.
Yeah, Netflix.
They have the biggest fan base right now, the Nielsen people. They have a device now. They're actually taking not only from DVR, but also net streaming sites to see how many people are actually watching shows, because now it's not that people are going to be on TV at that time. We're a more mobile type of people now that we have it on our iPads, on our phones, wherever we go.
Yeah.
So they're taking
And
that
you
into
also have
account.
Amazon Prime, which actually I forgot that I was a subscriber to.
So am I.
But I don't watch it because I watch Netflix. But I do have Amazon Prime too. And Amazon is a big company.
Sure.
It's a very big company. They could actually go in and just scoop this up, and then now there's a reason to really watch Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
I just believe, me personally, that Netflix is more established. They have more people use it.
yeah, they are.
So-
But if Amazon wants to make a move on Netflix,
This would
this
be a
will
great
be the great
opportunity.
time.
Yeah, this will
to
be the
scoop
time.
in and just grab that. If
Yeah.
Netflix grab it, then trust me, I'm just happy as anybody.
Happy
Yeah.
as a clam.
Yeah, or happier than a clown. But yeah, and why not? That's what Netflix watchers like myself do. We binge on shows
Right.
for a long period of weekends and days, and
That's
we
how I watched Lost.
That's
Like-
how you watch Lost.
Like you're gonna do with Arrow
Actually,
now.
that's the only way you should watch Lost. I had to watch it for 7 years. And remember, a week later what happened. But it's a serial show, so that's the way you're supposed to
Yeah.
watch Lost.
Yeah.
True.
Make more sense to you than probably did to me at the end.
What intrigues me about this is that Netflix is not Disney, and so it raises the question that we've spoken about before, which is the same thing that DC's doing. They've got shows on different networks. Marvel now is going to have shows on ABC. You know, we've got the Peggy Carter announcement, Shield, which is ongoing, and then whatever else they're doing, which potentially could land on Netflix or Amazon or wherever else. Could these shows interact? That's a question that's up in the air. So we asked it with DC. I think we have to ask it again with Marvel.
Marvel, I guess it would. Well, ABC is not going to be much of a problem because that is a Disney property.
Yeah.
You know, if people are not aware of it, Disney does own ABC. But when it comes to Netflix, Netflix already shows Disney programming to a large
And
capacity.
DC owns the WB or the
Yeah.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Warner Brothers owns the CW.
which owns
Yeah.
DC.
yeah, but
so it's
technically,
essentially-
right now, Warner Brothers is actually more distribution company than having a network.
But it's easier when you.
But
have
it is
that.
their network.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting, and Marvel could actually this seems like a push to me to sort of take control of not only the movies, because Marvel movies do great business, but to take over the television sphere too. Shield has been doing excellently for them, and this now with the opportunity to have shows on Netflix that are brand new and fresh could do huge business, and that interconnectivity is the biggest draw for fans, because you're always wondering what's going to happen on Shield, who's going to appear, even if you don't know or don't think that Nick Fury or Iron Man are going to be there. The thought that they could is always a driving factor.
And I think this is also like an answer to DC's presence on TV for a long time. We had Smallville, we had Arrow, and the announcement earlier before they announced this, you had the announcement of Gotham, Flash,
Constantine.
Yes,
right.
Constantine.
So this is their answer to all these rumors we hear about DC taking over their TV universe before even Marvel, started doing the thing with Shield.
DC might have a slight edge because for a while they've been releasing really fantastic animated movies. So
The best,
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of DC and Constantine, Guillermo del Toro.
There you go again.
Thank you.
good job, golf clap.
He spoke and he said that the Justice League Dark movie, which tentatively titled Dark Universe, which I don't like that name.
Tentatively.
Right.
Yeah.
He says that the Constantine show can definitely coexist with the movie where obviously Constantine would appear, and that it's actually good for them, and that DC wants a wide breadth of characters to appear across all mediums, and they're looking for that interconnectivity. So he's writing diligently on that, and that actually sort of eases my mind when it comes to the DC aspect of interconnectivity between their shows and their movies. So I really did like that announcement.
I think they have like some really good wheeling and dealing just to announce that.
Yeah.
Because remember, we questioned before how if Arrow was going to connect.
Yeah.
But there's already a confirmation on one show actually connecting.
Yeah.
To a movie, yes.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah.
So it probably makes it more feasible that the other
And
show will as well.
Guillermo del Toro is very good at creating universe. Very good. He seems to be a very a person that's a creator that's very willing to work with other people.
Right.
When it comes to sharing
And tell
these
us a good
toys and
story.
telling a good story and
Yeah.
stuff like that. He's obviously very capable with all the work that he's done on Hellboy with all those characters
Sure.
and those 2 movies that he
Sure.
did.
Even
Which
though
were
I'm not a
solid
fan
movies.
of Hellboy 2, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but overall, those were very enjoyable movies,
Yes.
and I think it's somewhat successful. If you consider the source material, Hellboy is not by any
main-
means necessary.
One of the darkest
Exactly,
characters you could read.
and he made it a very enjoyable movie with a lot of fresh ideas, a lot of fresh characters, awesome special effects. Even though most of them were not CGI, they were actually proper
Lower budget
effects.
stuff,
Yeah, and then he did a great job, and I actually enjoy all these movies that he has done.
And it's because of that I think this is a perfect marriage
Yeah, I
for
think
a
so.
director, writer, and a property.
Yeah.
Certainly the greatest marriage outside of Christopher Nolan and Batman that we've seen, in my opinion.
Or
So,
if Josh Whedon would have actually made Wonder Woman.
that could have also been incredible.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. So very much looking forward to that movie. Although it shocks me that this is actually happening, given that Justice League Dark is not exactly
Yeah, one of those
A main
things that you
title.
would think like,
Yeah.
oh yes, I'm gonna go see the
Right.
Dark Justice League. Who
Yeah.
are they?
But then again, maybe DC what it's trying to do, they say we have these great characters. If we find the right director and the right writing, we could hit a home run.
Right.
Obviously, less known properties have come into fruition, like young novel books that there are out there now that they're being coming out of
into films,
coming
yeah.
out of Hollywood
Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
truckload.
Let's
So
not
why
speak
not
of them.
a superhero thing?
And that's actually a really good point, and it's a point for DC that they're willing to take a chance,
Yeah,
because this is not a guaranteed hit by any stretch.
but I think that's what makes it more interesting to watch it.
Yeah. Well, what makes it interesting to watch it for me is the fact that these are characters that we do like.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that this is a director who will do these characters
Yeah.
justice.
Yeah, true.
And I'm happy that DC is willing to take this kind of opportunity.
This is a Geek Candyland movie. But if you're a casual fan of this stuff, you're like, what are these guys talking about?
Right, sure.
Who are they talking about? Who the hell is Constantine? Unless you watch a very enjoyable, but had nothing to do with Constantine movie that came out.
No,
Some
it had
years
to do with
ago.
Constantine. It was based on 3 stories.
Well, but what I'm trying to say, who played him?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, yeah. Had Neon. Did not resemble him.
Neon? Neo?
Neo.
Thank you.
Call
Or
him
Neon.
Neon.
Just
Well,
add
let's
an
just
extra
call-
N.
Yeah, an extra N. Why not? It's colorful enough. He can take it. I don't think he looked nothing like the character.
Yeah, we kind of dished on this last time.
Yeah.
The whole Constantine thing, but I'm really intrigued by this Justice League Dark thing, and I'm excited by it.
And do we know if we know it's Constantine Etrigan maybe?
Yeah, we don't know the exact team, or at least I don't know it.
That man
But
is
I
there.
would imagine
Etrigan's in.
you could look at the current run as a good indicator of who's actually going to be on that team. That's what I would say.
What is it? Madame Xanadu, Zatanna,
Yeah.
Blue Devil.
Frankenstein, Etrigan,
He's currently on
Constantine.
Yeah, Etrigan
Well,
is there.
I'm not talking about the exact current. I'm talking about since the New 52, this
Yeah.
Justice League
Oh.
Dark team.
Actually, correction. I think Etrigan is in Demon Knights.
He was never on the
Dark?
Justice League Dark.
No.
I don't think Frankenstein
He's
was
in. He's
either.
in Demon.
Frankenstein's not. I'm
He
pretty
was-
sure
he was-
Frankenstein.
No,
was
it
on
was
the team.
Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade.
Frankenstein. Okay, whatever. We'll figure it out.
We'll move. We'll figure
He had his
Frankenstein
own
out.
book, actually.
Yeah. So, speaking of comic books, definitely want to talk about those. We've missed 2 weeks, so some things have happened. Infinity Number 4 was released, a book that sort of had me and then lost me, and then had me and
We're
then
kind
lost
of
me.
divided on that book.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I'm going to sort of break down what kind of happens in the book in a general sense. We had the fight between Black Bolt and Thanos continue from the cliffhanger ending of Infinity Number 3, where you see Black Bolt essentially screaming in Thanos' face. And this book will make you believe that Thanos either is deaf,
Yeah, I think he is.
or
Deaf 80 years.
has embedded earplugs, because
Not Beats by Dre, but something.
he was capable of
Withstanding
the largest yells that Black Bolt has probably ever unleashed from that mouth. A yell that exploded the Terrigen bomb, which is now turning human beings who have Terrigen or
Forget that. Blew
Inhuman-
the city on top of Manhattan.
Right, yes, hold
Yeah.
on, let me get to it. To have Terrigen DNA, now they're changed, dropped the city that was hovering over Manhattan onto Manhattan, potentially killing millions of people. All of this was created by the voice of Black Bolt, and all that happened to Thanos is that his armor came off and maybe a little bit of blood, probably from debris, not the voice of Black Bolt.
Like-
And then Black Bolt smashes Black Bolt.
Maybe they had a lot of Kool-Aid in the city.
Thanos
It's
Black
all in his
Bolt's
face.
Thanos smashes Black Bolt's face onto the ground repeatedly, and that's it. That is all.
He KO'd him in the 3rd round.
Well, he keeps screaming. Well, at one point, he screams at his face directly, and all the Thanos has put his hand on his mouth and say, "All right, child."
After the second attempt. But he went on that unscathed, really. That was shocking.
Which was my problem when I first read it, that I just did not understand why was the whole point of blowing of showing this amount of power so quickly, and with these kind of consequences. I think that it was written more for show, for cliffhanging, and thank for the artist of the previous issue for ruining the ending of that of Infinity 3 when they showed the cover, kind of like telling you already what the ending was. But I think it was more for show than it actually was for, because why would he all of a sudden go up to him with such force?
Because he knows who
we're
Thanos
never
is.
forcing
Come
him.
on.
He has to go all out. He's always been such a big threat.
But we established he never faced him before.
Well, we haven't established that.
Not
We don't
directly,
know
I
that
believe.
for sure. What we know is that Thanos is come on, that he's Thanos, and Black Bolt has to know that.
Yeah,
And not
but
only that,
I think he reacted a little heavy-handed.
all right, to each their own. But nevertheless, I think that Black Bolt got the short end of the stick in that fight.
You think?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't really understand.
Yeah, he
why.
got done up way too easily for my taste.
Yeah, even that's what I
At least
understand.
show Thanos taking, some type of real recognizable damage from the screams instead of just bulldozing it like it doesn't affect him at all. Was it tech or something? It just keeps questions going on.
Again, I think they did it just to write a cool scene.
Yeah, we're kind of belaboring the point already, but
Yeah.
to move on, the other half of the book is this plot that the Avengers have put together, sending Thor to surrender diplomatically to the Builders, and
And getting bitch slapped in the process.
he does get slapped in the face, which was a strange moment for me as a huge fan of Thor to see him do that or accept that and then kneel before this builder. Of course, you knew that some sort of a reckoning was going to come. Cap says it himself. And the hammer that Thor threw into the air comes back on the builder and destroys his insides, which was a cool moment. Although a very stupid move. So stupid, in fact, that I'm questioning not the logic of the Avengers, but the logic of Jonathan Hickman to have the Avengers do something so dumb. Because we know, as fans, and the Avengers know themselves, that the Builders have amassed such a large army that the Avengers don't appear to have a chance at stopping
And
them.
then you see kind of Captain America say, "Now we win the war,"
Yeah,
which is
and
kind of
then
like, wow,
it's
that's
very-
kind of arrogant.
It's not only arrogant, it's silly. Captain America's a tactician.
that's what
He
I'm
would
saying.
know
Yeah.
he would know better than to do something like that. And again, I haven't read the most recent issue of Avengers, which came out this week. I wasn't able to pick it up, so I don't know if they follow up on that somehow. But as of where we stand, I don't understand this strategy at all.
I didn't either. I mean, you took down one builder, or was it
Just one building.
And
One
all
builder.
it did was to free the Kree Empire
Yeah.
And Ronan, the accuser.
and Ronan and his accusers.
and the
Yeah.
builders are the most strong. Obviously, the strongest that there is.
And they only were able to take down one versus how many are left? Like 20 something.
Plus, they have other soldiers that they have created
True.
and stuff like that they can.
They have an army that is insane. So
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing how the Avengers stack up, considering they got destroyed in earlier issues.
Yeah, remember that when they
Yeah.
even took over the Hulk, and now you kill one builder, and all of a sudden you're like all confident. Well, now we win the war.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little unbelievable.
It leaves me a little bit lost.
Yeah, so we didn't believe the payoffs on this book at all.
Yeah, and 2 issues to go. I'm confident still that Jonathan Hickman will wrap it up effectively, although I'm not yet sold at all as to how the Avengers can win this thing, and I just don't believe it.
It was it the I'm not, like I said, I haven't read as much Marvel as you guys have. When they show his son, was it the first time they show his son when he transformed?
Yeah, he's transforming.
Or they show him before?
No,
This
that's
is
the first time.
we ever seen this guy, this character.
It was very brief, and they just said,
Very
"Oh, he's his
brief.
father's son."
Yeah.
And you see images of what you may think
Yeah,
that
this-
Thanos is associated to, and then that's it. You see him roar. That's about it.
This is a book that has 2 storylines going together in the one book that I don't understand why.
And he looks really, really weird.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
he's purple.
what happened there is that prior to the Terrigen bomb explosion, this character whose name escapes me currently,
Thane.
Thane? Okay, thank
yeah,
you.
Thane.
He is a healer. And then
Kind of like a doctor.
Yes, and then the Terrigen bomb explodes, and now he sheds his skin and
He kills
he kills
everybody,
people
pretty
and-
much.
Yeah.
He looks real. I don't even know what they're gonna do with that, but I just I'm looking forward to how that mist bomb. I think you mentioned it before.
So
That leads to another event.
yeah, that whole event that took place is leading to Inhumanity, which is written by Matt Fraction. That's going to be the Inhuman event coming up really soon after Infinity. So you look forward to that.
I definitely am
for the Fallout.
So this Infinity is more like to where more books are going to come out of.
Yeah, I think
any event that takes place is set up for future stuff.
Like Avengers World directly come out of that Humanity.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of it for that book. Battle of the Atom also took place. I'm probably going to talk about that a little bit more later. One book that I wanted to mention was Justice League of America. Actually came out this week, and it's no longer written by Jeff Johns. Matt Kindt is on the title now, and I thought that it was good, if not completely illogical. Same problem I had with Infinity. So, the Justice League were defeated soundly by the Crime Syndicate at the end of Trinity War. Very soundly. They lead us all to believe that they're dead. Spoilers, they're not dead. We, as fans,
we always knew that we're not dead.
Right. But they should be dead. Because we see that they're in this prison. A cool concept for a prison.
Yeah, logical.
Right. This prison that sort of attacks them at their weakest point and puts them in it attacks their
like
minds.
In a Matrix.
It attacks the weakest aspect of their mind. But why do that? If you have the Justice League dead to rights, kill them.
Well, I don't think the Crime Syndicate or they may be somebody in the Crime Syndicate working against them because, if you haven't read the book, at the end of it, you do realize they're in this kind of holographic prison, but when Stargirl walks outside of it, it's cloaked.
Yeah.
So it's not visible. So it may be some reason that they're not aware of it because they actually can't see it.
Who?
Yeah.
The Crime Syndicate. There's certain things that it may not be
I don't know if they
explained.
Established that the Crime Syndicate can't see it.
It's we're led to believe. I can't say that it's for certain, but we're led to believe that this is the doing of the Crime Syndicate.
Yeah.
So if it
we're
is,
led to believe, but we're not.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm certain. I'm saying this is what we're supposed to believe. So if it is, then it makes zero sense that these people are alive. And I don't care who doesn't want them dead on the Crime Syndicate team, who are supposed to be the vilest of people.
Yeah.
Ultraman would have killed them all. He has no reason to keep them alive.
This sounds more like something that Owlman would have cooked up.
But even then, why? Why not just kill them?
Well, for the same reason when I don't know if you guys ever read the story called The Tower of Babel.
Sure.
Tower of Babel.
Yeah, about Babel. When Batman did kind of some similar things to Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Where he injects her with this nanomice where she kind of like imagines that she keeps fighting and fighting.
Yeah.
Bigger.
But Batman's a good guy. They're not.
Yeah, well, but he's kind of like...
No, Ultraman and the Crime Syndicate
Owlman.
are evil.
Ultraman is much more
is evil. They want them dead. Why wouldn't they kill them?
Well, there was this...
Well, remember, Owlman doesn't even want to kill Dick Grayson.
He's not the leader.
I remember there was this throwback back in the day.
Well, that's
I don't
what I'm
know
saying.
if it comes into play, where when you saw them last and they had to fight them, and there was this whole thing about the balance that you can't really kill them because you have to keep a balance between universes, but that kind of throws out the window because supposedly their Earth is gone.
Where was that from again?
That was from the original one.
It was an Earth 3 book. I think it was written by Grant Morrison. I think it was called Mirror or Dark Mirror.
God, okay. I know what you're talking about. I didn't read it. But
I have the trade at home. Yeah. And I read it, and it was just like this whole thing that if you put somebody in this universe,
that's why they couldn't win.
You couldn't kill them because if you do, you kind of destroy yourselves in the process because you have to keep a certain balance. So that may factor in, but keep in mind this is post Flashpoint. A lot of things have changed.
Well, my thing is kind of like Owlman always seems to try to undermine Ultraman. Ultraman might wanted to kill them, and for some reason Owlman just
it's very
too
simple.
Many speculations.
Why would the rest of the Crime Syndicate not want them dead just because Owlman may have said so?
I think the biggest thing.
I don't think he might say so.
I think
we should drop it. Go ahead, Aaron.
No, I just say this is my final point on it. It completely undermines what happened in the previous Forever Hero book when Batman came in and they were like, "Where's everybody else?" And he was like, "They didn't make it." And then you just have this come in right after.
Well, I could believe that Batman didn't
make it. Doesn't mean they dead.
No, Batman also may not.
He came in with Cyborg like almost completely gone, and then these guys are totally fine in this prison. That kind of doesn't make sense to me.
Well, again, for that kind of information, we do have to wait and see what actually took place.
Especially, Superman was left with literally dying from kryptonite poisoning.
Right. Yeah.
So that it kind of I know we don't have enough information, but it kind of throws a lot of monkey wrenches. into
it does.
What we already were following.
Yeah, and again, just not very believable for me. And what your information, Harris, about what was done in the Grant Morrison run could actually be the key as to why they didn't kill them.
Yeah,
and that's way more believable than just deciding.
That's what I'm thinking of. I just don't know if it does come into play or they have something similar to that. Yeah. Because also in Forever Evil, there is a guy that they're keeping there hidden also.
Correct.
So he may have something to do
with
it.
But in that book also, Owlman, I think, is the guy that deducts that they cannot take over their world because of the same thing we're saying. In their world, evil wins, and in our world, the good guys win.
There's a certain balance.
Well,
exactly.
if that logic holds true, the whole good guys are supposed to win, I'll be very disappointed in DC for going down that road. That's the kind of silliness that I thought they were leaving behind. Not because that's not the way it should be, because obviously in comics that's how it is. But just sort of a rule that's how it's supposed to be is very strange to me.
And how many? I'm not completely sure how many issues are left for Forever Evil to come out.
I'm not.
I think we're up to issue 3, I guess, of it.
Yeah.
So is it like 6 issues?
Yeah,
or is
we
it
don't
12?
know. We don't know.
Because I'm really biting at the bit to see those villains come together and get down to business, more or less.
Yeah. Well, that's the hallmark of a good event in that it keeps us wanting more.
Definitely.
So we'll definitely see where that goes. But, again, just not really sold on the premise, even though it was actually a good issue, despite,
It was good, but I think it was...
Despite the confusion.
It was very early to have this reveal, and...
To me, it was just like a big setup issue. And that's what it was. We are not going to get answers out of one issue that just came out of that.
Yeah. A lot more questions brought up. With this one.
And I guess that's what we're frustrated with. We wanted more answers.
So right now I want to get into something that we're calling top picks. And what we're going to do is every week we're going to read our usual stack and we'll determine which book was our favorite. And we'll kind of each have the floor to discuss that book during the show. And so I'm going to let you guys go first because you actually have the same choice.
Yeah, we have the same book.
So I'll let Harris, because he's much more eloquent than me, I'll describe why this was our choice.
Well, our book was Invincible 106. Apparently it's back on the regular schedule. It's written by Robert Kirkman, and the art is done by Cory Walker.
No, Ryan Oakley in this one.
What?
Cory Walker's not there.
Not who? Oh no, it's Ryan Otley. Sorry.
There you go.
Oh my.
It's fine. Don't worry.
But he kept Cory Walker's art. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. But the book was very fantastic. People who are not aware of it, there's Kirkman's other book, aside from Walking Dead.
The good one.
Yes, and so far they're following the Viltrumites after they've taken over Earth. Not taken over Earth, but had agreement with Invincible. Then his dad comes back, is now the king of that. Also deals with Robot and Monster Girl, their relationship, and everything that happened in a different dimension to now Aftermath and his plotting. And another storyline which paid off greatly for fans of the show, for the fans of the book, that Battle Beast came back. And not only that, he's now sent on a mission to kill the former king of the Viltrumites. It has a lot of suspense, a lot of little hooks to get you into the story.
And he was sent to kill him by who?
He was sent to be killed by the president of the Coalition of Planets, known as Alan the Alien.
Alan the Alien, such a wholesome character when he first started in the series.
And
now he's just a bastard.
And if you have not picked up this book, this kind of, to a point, it was a satire on most fantastic heroes, like both in the Marvel and DC universe, but it has a mind of its own. After a while, it found its stride. To a point, it's a very unique book to pick up, and it keeps you hooked on. There's barely a bad issue, if at all, I believe.
I don't think I ever read a bad issue.
And the artwork by Otley has remained the most consistent out of any artist I've seen in the past couple of years.
The best artist working on comic books right now, by far.
That's very high praise.
Yes.
And it sounds like you guys have been enjoying this. I mean, we've talked about this book briefly in the past. I'm not a reader, but You guys have always given it
mentioned
high
it, yeah.
praise.
Yeah.
So, apparently firing on all cylinders, even still,
Yeah.
106 issues in.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
before they had a irregular schedule, but they're back on track now.
That's good news. Really good news. My top pick is going to shock you.
Again.
Yeah. Just for clarification's sake, I did not read every book that I actually picked up this week, so I'm only going based off the books that I was able to read. And the best book that I read was actually Battle of the Atom, Chapter 8.
Harris, why do you keep shaking your head?
No.
Well, Harris has neglected to read it. He
Yes,
was standing
Harris
by
has
his
given up.
previous stance where he will no longer read Battle of the Atom,
I'll
which
stick
is
to my guns.
which
We
is
still love him.
fine because I will continue to read it and I will enjoy it. And here's why. We have now gotten to the beat of the battle between the future X-Men, well, both teams of future X-Men, I should say.
Yeah.
With the
Apparently one is not X-Men and
Right.
the other one is.
well, the Jean Grey Professor Xavier, I'm sorry, not Professor Xavier, just Xavier.
Xavier,
The,
yeah.
the Jean Grey Xavier led team have revealed themselves as villains, and the other team, which was
Persona non grata.
which was is actually led by, well, I don't know if he's the leader, but Shogo, the child.
Yeah. He's in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, he's revealed as being in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment. And now that the teams have been set up and the chips are on the table, the story has reached its apex for me. It's gotten as good as it's going to get, I think. And now I'm really excited for the finish. I still don't agree that we needed this, but I think it's been great for where it's at right now and for what was given. Some confusing bits because we're told that the young X-Men, for whatever reason, cannot return to the past. Ray's, I believe his name
that's
was.
his name, Ray's, yeah.
Ray's, Wolverine and Mystique's son from the future. He goes back in time as Cyclops. He's a shapeshifter. And he sees Professor Xavier in the garden or whatever. And then goes forward in time. And he is able to go back, but the young X-Men cannot. And so that raises questions as to what's really going on.
Holy
with,
time paradox,
yeah,
Batman.
yeah. And I'm not happy with that by any means because
I'm not sold on that idea.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
Yeah, for the writer.
Yeah, it's very convenient, and we don't know where it's going to go. But
I think that's the problem, that they haven't set a payoff, and we don't know what the payoff is. So it's kind of like you're reading it and you're like, okay, how the hell is this going to end?
Well,
what is it that they're trying to? Are they trying to leave the X-Men, the original X-Men, on this timeline? Are they establishing different timelines?
I think this issue solidifies, of course, barring anything that may change, that the young X-Men will stay.
Okay.
And we do know that the next X storyline is the trial of Jean Grey. We don't know what Jean Grey that refers to.
Yeah, which one of all three? Or
Right. Well, there are two currently.
Okay.
The young one and the future one. So we don't know what Jean Grey that refers to. We only know that that's what's coming down the pipe, and it's too early to tell what that even means.
Yeah, because until the
honest.
series ends, we don't know what we're dealing with.
Precisely. But this issue and the last one have been action-packed, and that's been exciting. Getting to see Magic and Colossus team up together.
Impale everybody.
Impale a couple of people. Those were good moments for them. Getting to see Wolverine fragile. He gets stabbed by Rays, and we know that
He doesn't
Wolverine.
get stabbed. He gets a whole fist up his.
Yeah, he doesn't have his healing factor.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We know he'll live, but whatever. A lot of good moments in this book and in the last book, and so I'm excited to see where it goes. Even though, once again, I'm not entirely sold on the necessity for this story to be told.
I find the event to be entertainment in a way, but completely unnecessary.
Yeah, if you kind of shut your brain off, you can enjoy it.
Yeah,
like
completely.
most of what Brian Bendis has been doing for the past couple of years, it's more mindless entertainment than it is thought-provoking or interesting on a dynamic level.
Yeah.
So good, but a good book. I enjoy
Yeah,
it.
it's
My
an
top pick
entertainment.
for this week.
It's an entertainment book, but
Yeah, definitely. So that's pretty much it. I think we're all ready to, go to bed. It's kind of late over here.
roll up.
Yeah.
On this side of the pond.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening. If you like what we're doing here, please do like on YouTube. and subscribe to the podcast. We're just doing this as a couple of creators, aspiring creators, who want to put our work out there, but also do what we do normally amongst each other and just talk about comics. And in hopes that you guys like
The
it and
medium
enjoy
that
it.
we love, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
So, please do show support if you enjoy what we're doing. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. And this has been Sean Bartley,
Leo.
Harris.
representing the Total Geek Network. And this has been the Total Geek Podcast. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good night. Oh, sorry. Affleck.